The Shearwater Perdix is ubiquitous when it comes to technical diving. This is my Perdix that I use as my primary computer for open circuit diving and an independent backup when I'm diving my rebreather. And these computers are super powerful, they're really easy to read, and they come with a lot of potential for customization. I want to run through a couple of my favorite customizations on my Shearwaters. First up, starting with the outside, the Shearwaters come with these straps with the clips, as well as an option to use shock cord through these holes to secure it. A lot of people switch to the shock cord just by default because I guess tech divers are supposed to use shock cord. In my opinion, these straps are wildly superior. They have adjustments here. If you switch from a wetsuit to a dry suit or to a rash guard, you can use the same straps. There's no knot tying. You just pull this to tighten it. Now, I will concede that if you unclip these and try to put it on over your wrist, especially if you've got a bulky dry suit or something, that's going to be really difficult or near impossible, but that's the wrong way to put it on. So there's a really easy trick with getting this on your wrist, leaving it closed, loosening this, putting it on, and then tightening it. It's very similar to how we're supposed to put our fin straps on if we don't have spring straps. So big fan of these. If you're going to switch to the shock cord, just make sure you put really solid knots on it. Next up, of course, is a line cutter. Tossing a line cutter on here, it's easy to get to with the other hand. It's relatively out of the way. And in general, it's a good spot for a line cutter. Last up is your name. You should definitely have something like these 3M stickers that I put on everything, so that way you can identify that this is your computer. Another smart thing to do is you can customize the start screen of this computer, and you could put your phone number or contact information as a photo on that start screen. Even if you have this and have that start screen, make sure you've got your serial number recorded, which you can find under System Info. As far as customizations inside the computer, the first thing that I suggest changing is your gas select tool. Now, by default, if we go to select a gas, we cycle through each gas like this. The bottom row is taken up by the whole gas. If we go to dive setup and define gas to change our gases, the exact same thing. Okay, if we pop over to system setup and then advanced config, and go into edit advanced config, edit this very last thing here, gas select is set to classic. We're going to change that to new. What that does is it puts all the gases visible on one screen. So our bottom row, we don't have to cycle through all those gases. We can select the gas we want, and that is also how it looks under define gas. So as we're defining our gases, it's way faster. If I want to change this, it's that easy to change, and I could do that with all the gases here. Next on the list is our middle row, and that's going to be under system setup, called center row. And we can edit what goes in each of these blocks. For me, I have delta +5, GF99, and surface gradient factor, as well as a clock. And having that on the very front screen is super useful, especially when you jump off the boat and you have a specific be-back time. You can just check that clock to know when you need to start your ascent. Now, you can customize this however you see fit. I get a lot of value out of the clock and these decompression related data points, but there's timers and all kinds of neat things that you can toss on here. Also under system settings, under deco setup, we have our clear counter, and I have that turned on. Now what that does is once we've cleared our deco, or on a no deco dive we go above 20 feet, a timer starts, and that counts every minute since we've cleared that decompression. That's super useful for doing safety stops if you end up doing a no deco dive, because you can just watch that, and once that hits 3 or 5, you know you've completed your safety stop. Or if you want to do 3 to 5 minutes of extra deco, instead of just looking at your computer and it says deco cleared, you actually have a running counter since you've cleared your deco. Another thing on this screen that's good to edit is making sure our last stop is set to 10 feet. That gives us more flexibility with our decompression, so we can go do a 15-foot or a 10-foot stop after we've cleared our 20-foot stop. 10-foot stops aren't always ideal, especially with a lot of wave action, but even with this setting set, you don't have to go up to 10 feet. You can still do your deco a little bit deeper, and once you've cleared, get up to the surface nice and slow. So those are the main customizations that I do. I keep these straps, add a cutting tool, ensure my contact information and names on the computer. I have a clear counter on, 10-foot stops as my last stop. I ensure that the middle row is nice and useful. And for gas select tool, I have the new version set up because I find that way easier to edit and select gases. So those are the customization features that I like to have on the Shearwater. A couple of quick notes on care. When it comes to changing batteries, always use the correct tool. It's not a quarter. The correct tool is either a Looney or the little blue tool that comes with new Shearwaters. Quarters will mar this up. When you change the battery, make sure that you put it in correctly and inspect that O-ring for any signs of wear, any hair, dirt, debris, and make sure that gets off of it, so that way there's a good sealing surface here. And of course, use really good batteries in here. Energizer Ultimate Lithiums are my favorite. They definitely die very quickly when they start to die, but I have a bunch of extras that I bring out on the boat, and swapping these is super quick with the right tool, so that's not really a concern for me. So hopefully those tips and tricks helped out, and thank you for watching.